It started the way most royal stories don't. Quietly, no announcement, no red carpet, no flashes. Just a single man standing in the shadow of everything he once called home. Prince Harry had always been different. Even before the headlines that twisted and turned his life into a global drama, there was something about him that didn't quite fit the mold. As a boy, he laughed too loud for the palace halls. He pushed boundaries too far for the royal court. He was messy, impulsive human in a world that demanded polish. While the world focused on his titles, his lineage, his duties, Harry clung to the small things. His mother's laughter, his brother's jokes, the feeling of running down castle corridors barefoot before anyone could stop him. He wasn't. Born for a life of quiet obedience. That much was clear. And then came the moment everything changed. Diana died. No royal protocol could prepare a child for that kind of loss. No crown could fill that hole. The world watched as he walked behind her casket, face frozen, steps steady, while millions of strangers mourned a woman they'd never met. But Harry had lost his mom, and no amount of ceremony could dull that ache. He grew up like a puzzle missing too many pieces, half prince, half orphan. He wore the uniform, gave the salutes, smiled at cameras. But something inside him stayed broken. Then came Meghan. When they met, it was a spark. No, more like a wildfire. She wasn't just stunning. She was fearless, American, independent. She didn't bow the way others did. She looked him in the eyes like he was just a man, not a symbol. And for the first time in a long time, Harry felt she didn't just represent freedom, she was freedom. To her, he was the fairy tale, the prince, the rebellion against the script. They were fire and air, untamed and intoxicating. Their romance felt like the kind that rewrites history, and for a moment it did. Their wedding was a global event, the union of tradition and modernity. A biracial divorced American actress and the youngest son of Diana, together under the stained glass of St. George's Chapel. It was more than just love. It was a revolution. But fairy tales don't survive the weight of reality. What started as adventure slowly turned into performance. The cameras never left. The headlines twisted every gesture. Meghan became the target of relentless press brutality. Harry, protective and scarred by his mother's fate, tried to shield her. But the walls were closing in. When they stepped down from royal duties, it wasn't an exit. It was an escape. They flew across the ocean, across the expectations, across the centuries of tradition. They landed in Montecito in privacy, in supposed peace. No crowns, no protocols, just space. But freedom came with a cost. Suddenly, Harry was in rooms full of strangers. Hollywood executives, publicists, managers, brand developers. Meghan thrived. She knew this world. She had her voice back, her power. But Harry? He traded one script for another. Only this one had no roots. There were podcasts, Netflix deals, speeches. And somewhere between it all, Harry stopped smiling the way he used to. The laughter, the joy, it dulled. He began to miss the barracks, the formal dinners, even the garden walks with Charles, long and often painfully. He missed William's sarcasm, the annoying, familiar routine of royal life. He missed home. The cracks started small, a distant look, a quiet night, a hesitation before the next Zoom call. But slowly they widened. Meghan saw it. The tension grew. She was still rising, crafting her brand, reaching for more. He was unraveling. It wasn't a betrayal. It was a divergence. She saw his longing for the past as regression. He saw it as healing. Behind closed doors, the warmth chilled. Fewer shared appearances, more solo ventures. Harry began saying no to the stage-managed moments, no to the appearances that didn't mean anything. His eyes drifted back to the UK, to the people who knew him before he became a symbol. And then, quietly, without fanfare, he went back. Not as a royal, not as a prodigal son, just as a man looking for pieces of himself. He didn't tell the world. He barely told Meghan. When he did, she didn't react with outrage, but with resignation, a tired sigh, a look that said, "I knew this was coming." He landed in London under gray skies. Just Harry. No entourage, no security convoy. The castle loomed like a memory. He walked its edge, not daring to go inside. Instead, he visited the old stables, the secret place, where he and William once hid away from the world. They smoked there, laughed there, yelled at each other when the pressure boiled too high, and now, silence. He didn't expect William to show up, but he hoped. For once, there were no cameras, no headlines, just ghosts. His mother's voice still echoed in his mind. He talked to her sometimes, alone, when the world got too heavy. He'd ask her what to do. He didn't expect answers, just presence, and maybe that's all he ever wanted. Presence. Back in Montecito, Meghan was quiet. She wasn't angry. She was calculating, wondering what his return would mean. For them, for the narrative, for the brand. But Harry wasn't thinking about brands anymore. He'd started speaking to Charles. Small conversations, nothing formal, just a father and son carefully undoing years of hurt. It wasn't easy, but it was something. Still, William remained a shadow. Their last words had been cold, sharp, final. And yet, Harry couldn't let it go. Because no matter what the world said, no matter how far they drifted, William was still the only person who truly knew him, who'd walked that same lonely royal road, who knew what it meant to lose Diana and still have to smile at strangers hours later. He wanted to say sorry, not for the choices, but for the silence. He wanted to say, "I miss you," but the door stayed closed. And Meghan? She stayed in California, booking meetings, polishing narratives, waiting, maybe for a call, maybe for the end. When Harry didn't return right away, the questions began. Would Meghan follow? Would she fight for the life they'd built? Or was the fairy tale already unraveling? The truth? They were living in different chapters now. She wanted the spotlight. He wanted silence. She wanted to move forward. He wanted to remember. And no matter how much love once burned between them, sometimes love alone isn't enough. Harry walked the palace gardens again. The same steps he took as a boy. Alone, this time. No guards, no press, just breath. He met with staff. Quietly. Reconnected with childhood friends. Laughed in ways he hadn't in years, and then finally one morning, he saw William. It wasn't dramatic. No hugs, no speeches, just a glance. A moment. But it was something. Later, they sat. Two brothers, two lives, twisted by fate and family. The words came slow, measured. Harry didn't apologize for leaving. William didn't ask him to. They just spoke. About Diana. About their kids. About the years lost. It wasn't healing. Not yet.